Epictetus, a Greek-born crippled slave, born into suffering, moulded by pain, walked the path of Stoicism. History's example of the indomitable spirit. Despite decades of torture, he stood strong, a heart imbued with Stoicism. This pain, crafted into priceless wisdom, he spread across the world, stopping only his noble pursuit to save a life. A poor child left for dead. The grace of Epictetus raised this child. A true Stoic. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, born into royalty, cut down by pain, plagued with suffering, burdened with the impossible. It was Stoicism that helped him rise above. The death of 9 children, a body enveloped in sickness, beaten and stricken down by decades of war, he still stood tall and led his people. Still regarded as the last great emperor, life unable to drag him under as he stood firmly upon the foundations of Stoicism. Stoicism was born out of chaos and suffering. Zeno of Citium, the wealthy merchant, on a grand expedition, a cargo laden with wealth, struck down by a great storm. All was lost. Zeno brushed closely with death himself and built the foundations of Stoicism, a philosophy that has guided history's greatest figures through lives of turmoil. These great Stoics wrote of extreme exercises, practices you could do that would strengthen your mind or lead you to their same great character. Things like embracing fate, the mastery of control, or making friends with death. Welcome back to The Everyday Stoic. I am William Mulligan, and my goal is to bring the ancient wisdom of Stoicism into the modern age, using it as a practical guide so that everyone can live the great lives like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, and Zeno of Citium. Today, I'll be talking about 4 exercises that even the Stoics deemed too extreme and is not advised for everyone. These exercises come with their own warning and they are not recommended for everyone for a number of reasons, so I'll explain why you shouldn't do these, but I'll also explain why they can help you live a life like the great Stoics. Today's video is sponsored by the Memento Mori Life Calendar, which you can get 10% off with code Memento Mori. The link is in description. The following are 4 exercises designed by the Stoics, yet deemed too extreme by some and not recommended by everyone. So when I give out advice and practices people can administer to their life, these are some that I will hold back. I won't tell to everyone as they come with their own caveats and responsibilities, and they are not recommended for some people, and that is the truth. Some people I will not tell these to, most people I won't tell these to, because I think that it may not help them or it may be too upsetting for them. The first exercise, Premeditation malorum. Prepare for today's evils. As Seneca would say, the unexpected blows of fortune fall heaviest and most painfully, which is why the wise man thinks about them in advance. So just a warning about this exercise: if you ruminate, overthink, worry, have GAD, if you struggle with control and you're highly emotional, I would not recommend this exercise. So people that overthink problems or worry too much about certain problems and situations, I would not recommend this. Premeditation malorum is an exercise where every morning when you get up, and this is something I do, you get up and you meditate on the idea of the challenges, the evils, the problems that life will bring you. And this can be the most extreme cases as death or disease or anguish, pain, suffering. Life can give us these things, unfortunately, and we cannot stop life from giving us these things. So sit there, close your eyes, imagine all the things that life could give you, and think genuinely which ones you are likely to encounter. So on a lower level, most people on their commute to work will face rude people, pushing, shoving. They may face some form of abuse. And then when they get to work, they may face rude colleagues, gossip, a horrible boss. These challenges are very common to the average person. So imagine this, you will face these things. You will face rudeness on your commute. You will face pushing and shoving on your commute. Your boss will be rude and annoy you. And colleagues may gossip about you, make up lies. So expect these things, and it removes their power because you've already meditated on the idea of them happening. And you've come to terms with the fact that they could happen. So you accept it. You sit there and go, okay, people shove me. My boss is rude. Colleagues gossip. I'm okay with this. You come to terms with it as if it had already happened, and you say, it is what it is. I'm okay with this. So then when you go throughout your day and these things happen, you've took away their power. Because these things are most likely to happen. They happen all the time, and expecting them not to happen is foolish and only leads to disappointment, surprise, and disturbance. So you expect these things and it removes their power. But if you go a little bit deeper, then you can expect the evils of life, the horrors of life, death, suffering. You can premeditate on these ideas. Think about these things. And it can strengthen your character because you come to terms with these things. And then when the minor things happen in life, they no longer faze you because you've already thought about the worst happenings. So that's the exercise, and I do not recommend that to everyone, especially people that overthink and ruminate. Although you can expect minor problems like rude people, I think that can be helpful for all. But the extreme case is not recommended for everyone and is to be used at your own caution. So the second exercise, deemed too extreme, is the detachment from self. Epictetus said this: with regard to whatever objects give you delight, are useful, or are deeply loved, remember to tell yourself of what general nature they are, beginning from the most insignificant things. If, for example, you are fond of a specific ceramic cup, remind yourself that it is only ceramic cups in general of which you are fond. Then, if it breaks, you will not be disturbed. If you kiss your child or your wife, say that you only kiss things which are human, and thus you will not be disturbed if either of them dies. So this exercise I would not recommend if you are disturbed by negative imagery, if the idea of death haunts you, if, again, you overthink or ruminate, if you tend to worry a lot, I wouldn't recommend this exercise. Although, on a smaller scale, it can be practiced by all. So I'll explain how you can practice it in everyone's life and then on the extreme case. So Epictetus uses the example of a ceramic cup. So imagine your favorite mug, maybe it says #1 dad, world's best teacher, or it's a picture of Frodo or Gandalf, something you like. My favorite mug is a Lord of the Rings one that says my precious, and it has a gilded handle that looks like the One Ring. The idea is you have your favorite mug, and if it broke, you'd be upset. Most people would be upset because they go, oh, it's my favorite mug. But it's not the idea of a mug breaking that's upsetting. Most people say, but yeah, it's my mug, it's broke. That's what's upsetting me. It's your attachment, the feelings you've attached to this mug. That's what's upsetting, because it is not mugs breaking that upsets you. If the mug of a close one broke, you might be a little empathetic. But if a mug broke in the other side of the world, say Australia to me, if a mug broke there to a random guy named Dave, I actually wouldn't have any empathy. I wouldn't really care, because it's just a mug breaking. So it's your attachment and the image and ideals you've built of this object. That's what is upsetting. So the practice is you detach yourself from situations. And this can go into If something hurtful or stressful is happening in your life, you take yourself out of a situation so that you're a third person spectator, so that you have no bias or emotional involvement into this situation or event. And it helps you to make greater decisions. It helps you to not let your emotions sway what is truly the best decision to make. Because emotions do get in the way, feelings get in the way, and attachments get in the way. So you view these situations as a third-person spectator. But on the extreme scale, as Epictetus says, when you kiss a loved one, you kiss a child or your wife goodnight, imagine it is the last time you kiss them, they would not wake up. Why does he say this? Because in the event that this thing does happen, then it does not catch you off guard. It does not disturb you. Now, can anyone truly practice that? I do wonder. It's easier said in practice, it's easier said in theory. As Epictetus writes here, it's easy to write, but I think in practice it may be impossible or very difficult. But on a smaller scale, it's something that all of us can practice. It's something I practice daily. You imagine that something of yours, a belonging of yours, you think it could be destroyed today, and I'll be okay with that. You come to terms with the losing and loss of this possession, and you're okay with that because it's just a possession, and you had it whilst you had it, and you got to enjoy it, you got to learn from it, you got to use it and create memories of this thing, so it's not lost. Just the objectification, the materialistic part of this object or person, this entity, that is the part that is lost. But as with the life of people or animals, is when they are gone, you still have the emotions, the connections, the memories, the rituals, the routines, the things that they brought you and the things that you shared with them, they are not lost, and you will always have them. So that is the second exercise. The third exercise, deemed too extreme, even to the Stoics, is voluntary discomfort. Now, if we look back at one of history's most known and most prolific philosophers, Socrates, this man spawned a whole new era of philosophy. There's Socratic and pre-Socratic. So before Socrates, we have pre-Socratic, then we've got Socratic philosophy. So he's quite an important figure in history. But he was known when he was on the battlefield and all the soldiers were gathering up warm around the fire. They've got their coats on, they're huddled up in blankets, keeping warm together. Socrates would walk out with a light robe, no shoes, walk out into the frost-stricken battleground. He would stand there for hours contemplating on a thought or a question. And it was noted by everyone. People would go and watch him and wonder how long he could stand there resisting this cold, how long he could stand there against the harshness of this battlefield. And he would stand there until he reached his answer for hours, and from sunset to sunrise. But it's this voluntary discomfort, this act of going out, facing hardship, that builds our character, our strength of character. And ways in which you can do this is things like cold showers, ice baths, ice plunges, exercise, fasting, extreme exercise. All of these things that you don't have to do. There is no need to do them, but you do them regardless. You put yourself through this voluntary discomfort. And it was noted by some that they would sleep on hard floors to gain this strength of character, this toughness of spirit. So that if you go through these voluntary discomforts, then when life throws you discomforts and hardships, you take them quite easy. You're used to them. So the reason it is deemed too extreme and the warning that comes with it is some of the discomforts that are advised, some that you will see in text or even going around on the internet now, are dangerous. Ice plunges are dangerous to many people and can result in death. extreme exercise like elite runs and ultra marathons often result in death. Fasting for extended periods of time can result in death. So this is not recommended to everyone. You can do it on your own small scale by putting yourself through more rigorous training, or having a cold shower, or fasting for a certain period of time. Because life, we are drawn to comfort. Humans are drawn to comfort. And it is this comfort that creates weakness. But if we can voluntarily push ourselves to discomfort, we build strength and prepare ourselves for the challenges of the day. Now, the final exercise, and considered the most disturbing exercise, is called the death of self. And Marcus Aurelius said, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now, take what's left and live it properly. What doesn't transmit light creates its own darkness." And there is no exception to this exercise. There is no easy route. There is no simple version that is recommended to everyone. This exercise is not really recommended to many people because the thought of death is disturbing to most, especially in the West. We've been raised on the idea of the fear of death, that death is this hideous thing that we must run from. So the idea of practicing on this thought of yourself dying is not recommended to people, but it can be a very powerful tool, and it's something that I do daily. So the exercise is this: you sit or lie or even walk, but you meditate on the idea that you've died, you've come to the end of your life, and you feel what that's like. All the things you've lost, all the people you've lost, the experiences, the potential that you've lost, everything. You're dead now. You think about this, think how it makes you feel. It can be quite upsetting, quite disturbing. You think about this, and you think about it, and then relax. Remember, you're not dead, and think. The feelings that you're imbued with is a sense of gratitude, a sense of presence and urgency to live this life. When you imagine yourself as dying or dead, the urgency you have to live this life fully is very intense and it's very profound. But it's not recommended to everyone, as it's a very disturbing image and a very disturbing thought. And most people are upset and disturbed by these kind of images and thoughts and this exercise. But imagine if you were, at all times we are walking side by side with death, because we never truly know when we are going to die. And we're walking daily, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, but at some point death will take you by the hand and walk you to the next plane, the next realm. Whatever it is that you believe in, death will decide when you get to walk that plane. And we have no say in this. So the idea is that oftentimes we run from this. We believe that death is a million years in the future, but death is all around us and can affect us at any given point. So when you remember this, it adds such urgency and gratitude to the life that you have. An intense urgency to live your life and be good, be kind, and be a good person to others so that other people can live their life well and happy and free. So one way in which I practice this thought on death, it's through the use of the Memento Mori life calendar. Once a week you fill in the square, and that is a week of your life counted down. So it's a week gone. And every week when I fill in one of those squares, I'm reminded about my time. It's finite. And it creates such a sense to live urgently and in the present moment, because life doesn't exist in the past or in the future. It only exists in that unfilled white square right there. So that filling in of a square helps me remember my mortality. But also every time I see that poster when I walk by, it reminds me again of my mortality and that time is finite. It's added a great sense of urgency and gratitude to my life. Which brings me to my next point. This is actually a poster that was designed by me and my brothers, and it is made here at MulliganBrothers, where the goal is to inspire change. But the purchase of this poster helps support what I'm doing on The Everyday Stoic in trying to teach everyone, people that are in need of Stoic philosophy that has helped millions of people throughout history. I'm trying to teach that to the everyday person that oftentimes doesn't have access to this. It's often hidden behind elite level teachings or paywalls. Just like history, philosophy was only taught to the elite and the wealthy, and then Zeno founded Stoicism and taught to everyone. That's my goal, and hopefully that is what I do here. But you can get 10% off on the poster with code Memento Mori. I think it can help your life. It's helped my life profoundly, and it also supports what I'm doing so I can make more videos like this one. And hopefully I've got an animated film that we've been working on for quite a while that I'm very excited to put out there, and it helps fund projects like that. So thank you for watching. Thank you for all your support, all the YouTube members, subscribers, everyone commenting, and everyone on Instagram at The Everyday Stoic or at William MulliganBrother. Your support is greatly appreciated. And if you made it this far in a video, come on through. If you walk through quickly, I can incorporate you into the video. Okay. So, if you made it this far, that was Jordan MulliganBrother, my brother. And you'll notice I'm wearing a shirt that says Inspire Change, because the goal at MulliganBrothers is to inspire change. You'll see it there, and on the wall written there it says Inspire Change in big bold writing, because the goal is to inspire change. And the way I'm doing it is through Stoicism, because I think Stoicism can help everyone. So that's an interesting fact. And I know most of you know that I do other work at, with MulliganBrothers, because I am William Mulligan. But we've been doing that for a long time. So anyway, comment, inspire change. Then I know that you are part of the, I don't know what the percentage is now. It used to be 0.1%, but it's probably gone up quite a bit because a lot of people have been commenting. But for numbers' sake, let's just say it's 0.1%. It sounds cooler if I can say you're part of the 0.1%. But yeah, it just lets me know that you've made it this far, you're paying attention, and I find it enjoyable, and I can always reply to all of you. So comment, inspire change, because that's the goal ultimately, to inspire change. So go out there in your day to inspire change in people, whether you tell them something interesting that you learned today, but don't tell them to do these exercises because it's not recommended to all. But yeah, whether it's just going out there teaching them about amor fati, dichotomy of control, or some teachings of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, or Zeno, or something that can help them in any way, big or small, because little things, little steps go a long way. Just one little piece of knowledge can help someone so much, because the world can be a harsh place and people are often, it's so easy to spread negative, it's so easy to be a bad person. The world often rewards bad people. So be that good person and try push that a bit further. Anyway, thank you, and I hope you have a great day.